Big Driver. What is happening with Stephen King these weeks? We had A Good Marriage, and now we're gonna have A Big Driver, and what I am so excited to talk about this because I loved it. I loved it, loved it. Big Driver was a part of a collection of short stories that he had a few years ago. I think 4 years ago, Full Dark No Stars, and he had four stories in that. I don't know if they're gonna make all of them. I should research that, but I want to be surprised. They did A Good Marriage. Now they've done Big Driver. We're just missing A Great Exception and 1922, I believe it was. I'm excited for that. I hope that they make them. A Good Marriage was fantastic adaptation. It was absolutely everything that I needed, and so was Big Driver. I usually absolutely hate and detest all the movies, TV shows, shorts, everything based on Stephen King's work because they're awful. They're usually awful in the sense that they are bad adaptations, but they're also bad stories because they just change everything to where it doesn't make sense. Um, there are only a few exceptions that I like Green Mile and Shawshank Redemption, and the classics, Misery even, Carrie was good. But then there's awful, awful adaptations like The Shining. The Shining was terrible. It's a terrible movie and it's a terrible adaptation, but it's considered a classic because Kubrick did it. But whatever. And I was coming into Big Driver with reserved expectations, I guess. I didn't want to be disappointed because it was my favorite story out of the four. My second favorite was A Great Extension, and my third favorite was A Good Marriage. And I figured, hey, since they did a good job with A Good Marriage, maybe this is gonna be the start of a new era where the movies will be good. And I'm glad to say that Big Driver was absolutely fantastic. It's a Lifetime movie. I had no idea until I went into it, but Lifetime lately has been on point. I mean, they had that Lizzie Borden thing that I really enjoyed, and Flowers in the Attic. They've been adapting those. And I haven't read those books, but the movies really get to me. I really like those, and I can't wait for the third one and the fourth one and however many there are. So Lifetime lately has been really doing it for me, and Big Driver was fantastic. Going into it, it's a very brutal story, so I get, because it's a Lifetime movie, they can't really show a lot of brutal things happening, and I get that. I wish this was an R-rated movie. I really, really wish that there was just brutal scenes like there are in the short story. But it would have to be R-rated for that. So I guess I get why they didn't do it. I still enjoyed it so much. I really hope that they wouldn't change anything because the entire I guess twist, it's not even a twist, it's just something that's there throughout the whole movie, and there are hints throughout the story and the movie, and I don't want to spoil it, but it's basically about a mystery writer who goes to a book signing, which she doesn't usually do, but whatever, she agreed. And on the way back, she takes a shortcut that the lady who organized the signing tells her about. So she takes a shortcut and she blows her tire, and she ends up at this abandoned gas station. And a guy with this big pickup truck comes in, and he is Big Driver. He is huge. He's tall and big and very intimidating, but he's actually really nice. And he helps her with her tire, and then she realizes that he was the one that set a trap for her by placing pieces of wood with nails on them on the road. And that's where everything goes to hell and gets brutal. And I don't want to say anything else because I think it's something that you should experience for yourself. The story is fantastic. It's very short. You should read it if you're interested. Sorry. It's very well written and so brutal. And the movie captures that perfectly. It just captures her feelings. I really love Maria Bello. in this movie, she was fantastic, and I love her character because what do you do in that situation when you encounter someone that dangerous? She was actually very logical and practical in everything that she did, and she didn't just sit there crying for hours, waiting for something to happen and fix itself. Um, she was prepared to deal with everything, and I love when a character like this is rational and practical and has a method in dealing with something so traumatic as to what happened to her with that guy. So I just love that it was a great adaptation. They had all my favorite parts. They had little hints throughout the movie about the final twist, sort of, and I caught them, and I was like, yes, yes, they did it. They have it. Those were lines literally taken from the story, which is great because why wouldn't you use the original material? But when it's so good and you're adapting it, just use it. It's there for a reason. Um, Joan Jett is in this movie, and I had no idea that that was her. For some reason, I expect her to look like she's in her 20s still, and it took me a minute to realize, oh my god, that's Joan Jett. She was fantastic. I really liked her character. I don't remember if she was in the story actually, or if they just added that in, but she was fantastic, and I loved it. It was a great little thing to add to the story to make it bigger, I guess. And I liked her. I liked her acting, and I liked her character, and I liked the interaction. And I don't want to say anything else because I feel like I'm hyping it too much. But I loved it. If you like the story, if you like Stephen King, and if you're disappointed in all the other movies like I am, this one really surprised me. They did everything well. It feels like a long movie. There were actually one complaint that I have, and it has nothing to do with it being an adaptation. It felt long in the moments when she was driving. She drives a lot in this movie, and it's just okay. Can we get to it now? We know that things are happening, things are moving. This is the actual exciting part. The ending of the movie. The last 20 minutes, things are moving around, and she's driving, and it's like, come on, get to it. So those were my complaints. The driving scenes felt really long, and almost unnecessary. Not necessary because we know that she needs to get there, and the GPS system actually has a function to this movie, but they could have cut those down a little bit because it feels like those driving scenes in the middle of the action happening just sort of take you out a little bit. It needs to be a bit fast paced towards the end, but that's okay. I guess it builds the suspense, like, oh, what's gonna happen now? And I guess it builds the suspense for someone that doesn't know what's gonna happen. But because I have read the story, to me it felt like it's taking me out, and I just wanted to get to it because my favorite parts were coming in. And that lady, who I can't remember her name, Olivia something, she was in Compliance, and I actually talked about Compliance when I saw Open Windows and when I reviewed that. So for the past few days, I've been thinking about Compliance a lot, and then I watched this movie and she's in it. Um, Perfect character for her, perfect, absolutely perfect, and she did a great job at being what she needed to be. Which I won't say anything. In case you want to see it, I hope you do because it's fantastic. And that's it. I'm dying over here. I can barely talk. I hope you can't really hear that. Sorry, I sound like I don't know what I sound like. I sound like in my head like Jennifer Lawrence have been screaming in Hunger Games. That's it. Big Driver, big thumbs up. I hope they make more. I'm okay if they're Lifetime movies. Honestly, at this point, they're fantastic. A great extension. Doesn't have anything brutal in it, so they can easily make that. And 1922 doesn't really have anything brutal in it, so they can remake that. And yeah, this one has a lot of violent moments, and they did a really good job at not showing them, I guess, because they really can't. Um, they did a really good job at representing what those violent moments did to her, and the effect that they had. And they showed her with the blood and the broken nose and everything. And it was powerful. It was powerful to see her that way, even though we haven't seen what happened exactly in the story. Stephen King basically describes a lot, and it's hard to read sometimes. It's hard to read what's happening to her and how awful it is and how brutal and just violent, and you almost can't breathe when you're reading it. And I really appreciate moments like that. And I understand why they couldn't do that in the movie. It's a Lifetime movie. It was on TV. They can't do that. So yeah, I actually really enjoyed it, and I hope they make more. And I'm done because I'm dying over here. So yeah, bye.